satisfaction without the fight. A man has limits, oh, so they say, but I never listen. Did it my way. I'm gonna take what's mine. I paid my dues. I dare you to walk a mile in these shoes. The beat in my soul just keeps getting louder. Give me some of that power.
Did you and Sam ever talk about it? Was it ever like, okay, did you ever address it?
No, truly. In the month before, oh no, I'm sorry, not the month before, that was February. So maybe like in October or November, actually I would say November, me and Sam had a lot of fights about it because I'm like, at this point, I'm telling him like, you need to tell me what you're doing. You need to tell me like what's going on, like where you're going when you go, like really what he's doing. And he always brushed it off. Like, as God is my witness, he always said, we'll talk about it later. We'll talk about it later. And did we ever talk about it later? No. When I would bring it up to him and try to get more information out of him, he never gave it and would always say, we will talk about it later. We will talk more.
Was there ever an overt indication of what he was doing, or was it literally all you just putting two and two together and then him accepting that you knew it? Did you see something? Like, did you see a bag?
Oh, like he would share certain things with me, just not everything.
Okay.
Yeah. Like as far as me knowing more or like knowing better, not being a dummy, like, yeah, that was definitely well and alive. I knew what the hell he was up to. As far as knowing exactly what he was up to, no, I did not. So right. As far as how much he's purchasing,
sure,
who he's meeting up with, where he's going, locations, like amounts, prices, none of those things was discussed or disclosed with me at any given time.
Right. And the police officer in me, right? Because I can't get rid of that. Like, I'm a curious dude. I'm wondering that interaction when like you catch him and it goes, when it transfers from Tyrell just knowing what the game is to actually being like, Sam, like, was there a moment where he said, this is what I'm doing? You know what I mean?
No,
like,
there was times where I walked in on him and he's bagging it up. You know what I mean? Like,
was that how you found out? Because there's a difference between knowing.
No,
and then knowing.
Like, he told me, like, my friend, he'd be like, oh, my friend is sending me stuff and I'm gonna go and get rid of it. And I'm like, okay, like, don't get me involved, you know? And there was even one time where the cousin that I'm talking to you about that I was raised with that would bring drugs into the home, where Sam actually supplied him. And ultimately that cost us our relationship because, like, I told Sam, like, you need to watch out for him because he will do you dirty with no remorse, you know? So, like, be careful. And even in that same token, I said, like, I don't want to get involved because you're my boyfriend. This is my cousin and I don't want nothing to do with it. Like, whatever happens between you guys is all in you guys and I don't want to get involved. Unfortunately, that's not how it happened because obviously when he did Sam dirty, Sam is crying to me, like, your cousin did this to me and took the money and they didn't pay me back. And now I'm getting involved. Now I'm like, why don't you just pay Sam back his money? Like, what the hell are you doing? You know, like, why are you doing that? And like, I would get involved to some degree and be like, that's wrong what you're doing. You know, he's helping you out and you're doing that to him. So as much as I didn't want to get involved, I ended up getting involved to defend Sam to some degree. So Sam is not confrontational and he's not aggressive in approaching, even if it's something like this. So of course, like, I'm that person. I'm more aggressive in approach and I'm more firm in getting stuff done. So as much as I didn't want to get involved, when he cried to me about, my cousin not paying him, I definitely at that level got involved and inserted myself in his business and definitely voiced my opinion. And that ultimately severed the relationship between me and my cousin.
Did Sam get his money back?
No.
And what happened to your cousin?
My cousin ended up getting arrested shortly after Sam for drugs as well.
Related? Or was it unrelated to Sam?
I could say unrelated and I could say related because both of their suppliers were brothers.
Oh, so it's related. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like Sam ratted him out and then he got busted.
Right.
But they both come from the same chain of the supply.
Was that Sam's first hiccup? Was that Sam's first?
I believe so.
That was his first sign.
True. Yep.
Because if the cops don't get you, cousin is going to get you.
Right.
Going back to when this all came down. So everything's going smoothly. He's doing his thing. You know what he's doing. You got involved with the cousin situation. So that's when you inserted yourself into his business. Now you full-fledged know what he's doing and you're enabling. You're like letting him do his thing. Are you ever telling him like, Sam, like it's time already?
Yeah, there was multiple times where I told him like you should stop. As far as like making it an issue, no, but I definitely voiced it to him. But Sam was so confident in what he was doing. And Sam was so sure of himself that his operation was A1 and that he was okay. And to be honest, had Sam's guys in the Big Island not get snagged and not set up a controlled buy to bust Sam to relieve pressure on their ass, Sam probably wouldn't have gotten busted. And I say that confidently, that had his people had not gotten busted, he probably would have not gotten busted.
Did you ever meet his people?
There was one time that I went with him to the Big Island he went to pick up money and I met them.
Did you know who you were meeting?
No, I didn't know anything about them. At one point, he didn't even tell me there was a female. And I had to find out because one of the trips that Sam took to the Big Island, he didn't make it back home the same day.
That was the night they put him up in the hotel, that sketchy night.
I didn't even know what happened to him still to this evening, but yeah, he said the hotel. I didn't even know that a girl was involved at that point. I only knew of the two men, and he hid the girl from me for a while. And it's not like she was some gorgeous, pretty girl that I had to be insecure about. She was like this fat, ugly, like sloppy, drug addict looking girl. So I just still didn't understand why he was hiding her identity from me. It just didn't make sense, but he did. And so, yeah, one night he didn't make it home. And, I was upset. I was pissed. But, eventually he came home and then shared with me about the female. So I met one of the men and that female that evening. And during that particular trip, what also again inserted me into his business was while he was there to collect money. More so, I can't say more so, but both of them, the guy and the girl, had a lot of like stories that just wasn't adding up and just wasn't put together and wasn't making sense, to where I'd be like, stop fucking playing around. Like, just give him what the fuck you guys owe him so we can leave. You know, like, it's at this point, it was so ignorant. Just the fact that we were there, first of all. Then the second of all, that I'm there listening to this bullshit stories, when it's easy to just say, I don't have your money. I'll call you when I do, or you'll get it when I have it. Like, there was just so much fucking like runarounds, and like they were just all spinned out, and it was kind of ridiculous at that point. So I was actually getting irritated, because at this point it's like fucking 10, 11, at almost 12 at night, and I'm like tired. We just got off of a plane that morning from Vegas, went to a funeral, went right back to the airport, jumped on the plane to the Kona, and like I'm like fucking exhausted, so I have like no tolerance for anything. And yeah, so at that point I was just like, stop fucking playing around already, like just do what you guys got to do so we can leave. And I kept telling them, like, let's get the fuck out of here. Like, I don't want to be sitting in this fucking garage with these chronics. And like, there was times where I'd go to the car and I'm waiting in the car so long, I'd come back on, I'm like, what's happening? Like, what are we doing here still? And you know, of course Sam is trying to arrange with them, and it was just like a fucking back and forth trip. It was so stupid.
So Sam, he's diplomatic and he's not confrontational. So all of a sudden, like, he's dealing with these chronics and he's not getting his money, and he's still, you know, hoping they're going to get his money. Yeah. He's
definitely
buying what they're saying.
Trying
He's
to
hoping.
work something out. Yeah. Trying to, like, he's being real passive, like, and I'm the one that's actually getting irritated, because I actually have no tolerance, no patience. So I'm the one like, let's get out of here. You know, let's go now. Like, I want to go to sleep. Like, I haven't slept well in literally a whole day, and we're here like still doing some dumb shit like this. Like, that's how dumb it was.
This whole time, Sam's flying back and forth, bringing loads. You know what's going on. You had seen it with your own eyes. You had talked to him about it. You're telling him it's time to stop. You're getting annoyed when he's not, you know, when he starts stressing because he's not getting paid, and your cousin, ices him and doesn't pay him. So you're getting more and more involved by default, because probably a combination of the fact that Sam's personality is that he doesn't take care of it when stuff goes crazy. Your personality is more type A, more confrontational, not afraid to say whatever. So I'm seeing a theme here, which is like Sam is not really taking care of business. He's starting to make bad decisions with the people he's dealing with. And he's giving people too much credit.
Exactly.
And so stuff starts going wrong. You're starting to get involved. Are you ever at this point telling him, like, you know, because there's a difference between telling someone to stop dealing, but then there's this other level, which is like, yo, at least stop dealing with these people. Like, is that ever a thing? Does Sam know? Does Sam ever know at some point, like, bro, you got to find a different?
No, that doesn't come up, because again, it's like not my operation. So I'm not sharing my input on any level to any degree about it. I just know I'm getting real irritated at this point with his whole fucking operation. Because for one, he's not telling me everything. For two, he's leaving shit out, you know, especially about other females. Three, he's not coming home. You know what I mean? Like, things are getting really irritating at this point for me. So we start fighting at this point. This is like November, December.
Yeah, that was my next question. Was at some point the relationship has got to be affected, especially with your personality. Yeah, I can tell. Like,
definitely.
So he's not doing what he's supposed to do as a boyfriend. Now the relationship is starting to be affected. So, like, what starts happening?
Yeah, so definitely we start fighting. You know, at this point, I'm like locking the doors. He's not sleeping in the bedroom with me. He's upstairs in the living room or in his office all day. And like that's how we operated. Like, you know, he had a car, I had a car, so we wouldn't need each other to leave and carry on with our daily lives. Like we were able to come and go as we wanted to. And that's pretty much how it happened.
And was that the state of the relationship when Sam got caught?
Definitely around that time, like the holidays came, and we definitely eased up on the tension, and we was able to make the living arrangements comfortable. The tension wasn't it wasn't really existent at that time frame. So the fighting was briefly like November, early December, holidays came, so it obviously dropped down to very minimum. And then by January, we was able to be like in a good place. So
Right. So it was like a reset for you guys because you had
Yeah.
family time.
Exactly.
You guys were acting like a family, developed habits like a family. You're in a new vibe. And so
Yeah,
that
exactly.
kind of carried on.
Yeah, exactly. We
Okay.
transitioned right into it, the same energy. So it wasn't like friction. It wasn't fighting or anything. So it was pretty normal at that point.
When did he get caught?
He got busted right before this time last year. I would say actually it was today, February 10th.
Wow.